So this video is about detailed maintenance on your coffee roaster, and while we're using the BC5, you can apply these same principles with the Sedona as well as the Phoenix and the Phoenix ORO and the AZ roasters. In the past, we've talked about daily maintenance, which includes wiping down the machine daily, making sure the cooling tray is clean and none of the holes for the that the air is drawn through is clogged up. Also that the debris is pulled out of the debris tray as well as chaff unit, and then daily cleaning underneath the chaff unit using either a shop vac or some type of air sprayer to keep that squirrel cage clean. But about every 3 months or 6 months, if you use the machine just periodically, you should completely break down the machine and clean it. And this involves removing components. If you can hear me, it involves removing the neck of the roaster, which is going to need cleaned. You can't simply take a brush through here. That'll help, but it won't completely clean it. You literally need to take this off. You need to take the manual damper dial system off. You literally need to take this fan apart and clean the squirrel cage. That might even be done every monthly. And you literally need to take the top off of the chaff unit, scrub down all the walls on the inside, and completely clean them, as well as open up every component. You'll see this whole piece comes off. Securely lay it on some soft material so it doesn't scratch. In the back, there's two panels that come off. The panel in the burner room, allowing you to get in and clean the burner room. The panel going into the electric room. You can also access some of that through here. You need to take each one of those components off. We're going to show some pictures as we do it, and you're going to need to clean it. We found that Simple Green is one of the best cleaners for coffee roasters. As far as shining up the housing, glass cleaner and a soft terry cloth sprayed onto the cloth and then wiped onto the roaster while it's unplugged, allowing sufficient time for it to dry, as well as on the body as well. And that's where the Simple Green really comes in good. And Simple Green mixed at about 1 part Simple Green to 4 parts water will be a good amount of scrubbing power, allowing you to clean your stainless steel and completely clean up your machine. In rare cases, you might need a little bit stronger chemical, but never would you use a caustic chemical. The BCs are great roasters in that the manual dial damper pops off. You got these ferrule clamps that attach to the chaff unit as well as to the neck of the roaster. It takes about a minute or so to take the whole thing apart, really helping you to see that it wouldn't hurt to clean this monthly. Now you do have these silicone gaskets which can be reused. Even though they turn colors, they're still fine. You would only need to replace them if the silicone itself is damaged. And when you take this apart, obviously you can see that it's not real dirty, but it still is not real clean compared to the outside. So you want to completely clean that. Then we're going to take the neck of the roaster off. We're going to take the top of our chaff unit off, and we're going to completely scrub those down, as well as all the exterior with Simple Green. And then we'll get into the insides of the machine by taking off the 2 panels on the back and the front panel on the front here. And if we have to, we can take off our housing too, but we may not need to do that. When you bought your roaster, you obviously found out real quick that some of the tools you're going to be using constantly are going to be hex keys, metric hex keys. And in this case, I believe it's a 4mm hex key that removes the neck of the roaster. And you got to be really careful when you're removing the neck, not in regard with the bolts so much, but because the thermocouple for the hot air ET thermocouple is attached to the neck, you want to make sure you don't yank it off or pull it to where you damage the thermocouple. There is a small little clamp down here that attaches to the thermocouple to hold the wire in place. You may need to loosen that so you can gently remove your neck of the roaster and set it in the cooling tray while you clean this out. And when you are cleaning it, you want to make sure you clean the thermocouple as well. Sometimes after a while, thermocouples can give false readings because they're dirty or they're covered with goop, and from especially if you do a lot of dark roast. And so you want to make sure you completely clean that too. So I'm going to remove these 4 bolts, and for right now I'm going to gently set this down. And you can see there is a buildup of debris and a little bit of resin, if you want to call it that, in the neck. And you also see, and I'll get a camera over here, that there's some debris that's built up along on the inside of the front plate. You may or may not need to remove the front plate every time you clean. Sometimes you will, and it will be good. This is also a good time to oil your, or grease I should say, your front bearing and inspect it to see if it needs replaced. So here's a picture of the front of the roaster with the neck removed, front plate. You may be able to find, if you don't have a lot of buildup, you can clean by getting right down into the walls of the front plate and also the inside of the door. You don't need to take this off and scrub down the drum per se. If you have buildup of oils on the drum, you can clean that by turning the heat up and letting it run with the heat on and the drum turning and the airflow on high to burn off any excessive oils. But basically those you build into that drum kind of a resin, as some people say. So as I mentioned, you'll want to use your metric hex key to lift off the top of the chaff unit, and I believe that's going to be a 3 millimeter. It depends on the size of your roaster. This is a BC5. Some will have smaller, some will have larger, and some will look different. But whatever way you're able to open up your chaff unit, you want to open it up and completely scrub down all the components. You might find that on some of these, the bolts themselves need cleaned, as well as they may have built up a resin and some debris on them. So especially if you do a lot of dark roast. So dark roast is the biggest challenge for a roaster, because you're going to be pulling a lot more oil and moisture through the drum and through all the pipes, and a lot more smoke. And so you're going to have, it's going to get dirty a lot faster. So if you're doing a lot of dark roasts, which heaven forbid, I don't know why you would. To me, they taste terrible. But some customers want that. If you're doing a lot of that, you may want to clean your roaster every month or so with this thorough cleaning. So as you can see, these components come off, and you want to give them thorough cleaning. So as you can see so far, we've removed the hopper, we've removed the manual dial damper, we've removed the neck of the roaster, we've removed the top of the chaff unit. We're going to scrub all those down, we're going to clean all the outside, pull out all the trays, clean those thoroughly. Then we're going to take the front plates and back plates off and vacuum out, as well as clean down any of the area. And as I mentioned, Simple Green is a great tool that will do most of your cleaning. On the really shiny surfaces, you may need to use glass cleaner, because Simple Green can leave a little bit of a film or residue that's not quite as pretty. But if you do these things and you do them every few months, in some cases even more often, you're going to find that your machine will perform much better and will really do a nice job. And then don't ever forget, you also need to clean all the piping on your exhausts from going out of the cooling tray, but especially out of the chaff unit, exiting your building, and checking your pipes to make sure that there's no blockage either from the outside or along the line. If you'll do all these things and maintain it, your machine should last for many, many years.